वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारी यमुना तीरवन चारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारी यमुना तीरवन चारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय बलदेवा जय बलदेवा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा माई जय सुभद्रा माई जय सुभद्रा गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवन चारी यमुना तीरवन चारी जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा हरे नाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय Hare Krishna devotees, am I audible? So today's verse asked for Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 8th chapter, verse number 22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठी Om Tat Sat. So we'll get into today's verse, then we will discuss further. तम्येव वत्साश्रियभृत्या वत्सलं मुमुक्षुभिर्मृग्य पदाब्ज पद्दितिम् अनन्यभावे निजधर्मभाविते मनस्य अवस्थापि भजस्व पुरुषम् तम्येव वत्साश्रयभृत्या वत्सलं मुमुक्षुभिर्मृग्य पदाब्ज पद्दितिम् अनन्यभावे निजधर्मभाविते मनसि अवस्थाप्य भजस्व पुरुषं तम्येव वत्साश्रयभृत्य वत्सलं मुमुक्षुभिर्मृग्य पदाब्ज पद्दितम् अनन्यभावे निजधर्मभाविते मनसि अवस्थाप्य भजस् भजस्व पुरुषं synonym tam him eva also vatsa my dear boy ashraya take shelter Bhritya Vatsalam of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Mumukshubhihi, also by persons desiring liberation. Mrighya, to be sought. Pada Abja, lotus feet. Padditim, system. Ananya Bhave, in an unflinching situation. Nija Dharma Bhavite, being situated in one's original constitutional position. Manasi, unto the mind. Avastapya, placing. Bhajasva, go on executing devotional service. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Translation. My dear boy, you translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear boy, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation. Just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart and without deviating from a moment, engage always in his service. Purport. The system of Bhakti Yoga described by Queen Suniti to her son is the standard way of God realization. Everyone can continue in his constitutional occupational duties and at the same time keep the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. This was also instructed by the Lord Himself to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Go on fighting, but keep me within your mind. That should be the motto of every honest person seeking perfection in Krishna consciousness. In this connection, Queen Kunti advised her son that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Mritya Vatsala, which indicates that he is very kind to his devotees. He said, "You came to me crying, having been insulted by your stepmother, but I am unable to do any good for you. But Krishna is so kind to his devotees that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. When everyone else failed to mitigate one's misery, Krishna is able to help the devotee. Queen Kunti also stressed that the process of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not easy, but is sought after by great sages who are very advanced in spiritual realization. Queen Suniti also indicated that by her instruction that Dhruva Maharaja was only a small child, 5 years old, and it was not possible for him to purify himself by the way of karma kanda, but by the process of bhakti yoga. Even a child less than 5 years old or anyone of any age can be purified. That is the special significance of bhakti yoga. The therefore she advised him not to accept worship of the demigods or any other process, but simply to take to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the result would be all perfection. As soon as one places the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's heart, everything becomes easy and successful. So, here the Srila Prabhupada purport ends for the Canto 4, Chapter 8, Verse 22. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चष्कुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपादकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीकृष्णपादान् सहना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे विष्णुपादाय कृष्णस्ताय श्रीमते जय पदाय स्वामी आचार्य पदाय नगर ग्राम Om Tat Sat. So, from this verse, what is the take-home message, or what is the exact, the translation? Again, I'll read. Then we will connect to the canto, verse, etc. So here, Dhruv Maharaj running to his mother. Mother replies, "My dear boy, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation. Just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart and without deviating for a moment, engage always in His service." Fine. So now we will try to connect this, fourth canto. This fourth canto deals about two things. The first thing is which which we come across descendants of Manu's daughters, and then Daksha's sacrifice, and then descendants of Uttanupada. So now we are in the flow of descendants of Uttanapada. So Uttanapada, descendants. So chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaja leaves home from the forest. That is what the chapter 8 which we are discussing. And then the next chapter is Dhruva Maharaj returns home. So that is out of our scope. So today's discussion is Dhruva Maharaj leaves home for the forest is the chapter. And then this particular chapter deals with to show the unfavorable elements of bhakti. So what all are unfavorable to the bhakti, and family members of adharma are described. So family members of adharma. So that person also a son of a Brahma. So in connection to that, Uttanapada had two wives, Suruchi and Suniti, and Suruchi chastised Dhruva for attempting to climb on father's lap. So taking advice of Suniti, Dhruva went to forest to worship Lord. So inspired, now we are in this flow. Inspired by Paramatma, Narada met Dhruva, tested his determination, and instructed him on the process to attain his goal. So we are also Kali Yuga, there are so many tests, only we will not realize. Dhruva performed austerities. And in the flow of the chapters or this particular eighth chapter, first five verses described about the lineage of Adharma. So how Adharma, the lineage or personified qualities such as cheating, right? The Adharma means cheating, lying, harsh speech, pride, deceit. So in Kali Yuga, these all are most prominent. Cheating. Nowadays, if we look into any business process, the one who is cheating nicely, that is the cheating. That business is good business. That is how today's business is going on. And then lying so casually, how the business transaction happens, such a way how I can lie, the customer can believe I could get into. Not only in business, in every part of the life. And then harsh speech, even in a family members between husband and wife, and within the parents or with our children, right? Or with office colleague, always that harsh speech, because that it is what to say, out of ignorance one gets. So nobody is qualified in Kali Yuga in the right ratio, in the right uh, proportion to exhibit the anger. So here, anger or harsh speech. We need a detail. So this harsh speech will come out, in a proper ratio and a proper uh, place and circumstances. Then it is appreciated. Say, for example, a mother controls their child. Don't do this. Get ready to school or do this. That is okay, but in what motive such a way we behavior matters. And then pride. So what is our pride, right? I am the owner, false proprietorship. I'm the owner of this building, I am the proprietor of this. We all are servant of the any property which, if at all we claim that we are possessing. Whatever we possess in this material world, that is the impediment for our spiritual progress until we come to the stage which is being given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then deceit, and then appears in the dynasty of Adharma, one of the son of Brahma. So Adharma, see this Kali Yuga especially full of hypocrisy and quarrel, right? Rich gets richer, or I have so much of bala, I will establish. It looks like, but actually when we look into Kali Yuga, how it is like this, right? The devotees also may sometimes in dilemma, how this so-called people with some designation, and they are doing all abominable activities, or looks like are exactly maybe adharma. And it looks like they all are enjoying very pious, or it looks like, but actually not. So one of the class I heard this example saying that it looks like they all are going by a very nice ship or a boat, very opulent ship or a boat. And it looks like Prabhupada giving advice to all of us with one of the famous quote, simple living and high thinking. Yes, obviously, simple living and high thinking is very much required. But how many of us are qualified, to take up that kind of mood to progress? Simple living means everything given by Krishna, eat only prasadam, right? As a devotee lifestyle, we know. But here the point is that how to come out of that adharma. Otherwise, we will be with this hypocrisy and quarrel. I will continue with that example. It looks like they all are traveling by very big ship or something, being a devotee or being a humble servant of the Lord, externally it looks like we all are traveling by a small boat or a small, which will take us to cross the river or something. But they may looks like they are using a big ship or something, but there is a big hole in it, which outsider cannot understand. Only the transaction between Lord and devotee and the Lord and non-devotee can understand that. Lord says, I'm not partial to anyone, but I am so favorable to the devotee. So that whole also Lord aware of it, but Lord does not want to, focus on that because it is your choice. Lord gives choice for everyone. So Duryodhana and Arjuna, what Duryodhana chosen and what Arjuna chosen is a different one. So what is the mood of Lord? Lord will give opportunity for everyone, and also Lord gives the independence to us. So what Dhruva had chosen initially he had chosen a karma kanda, but with the mercy of devotee, mean mother and Narada Muni, he was qualified to bhakti yoga instead of ashtanga yoga. He has become so pious, and then bhakti yoga process. Then he got into that level of devotional service, and then Surichi chastises Dhruva. So that we discussed between 6th to 13th chapter. And now we are in the third division of this chapter, that is called Suniti asked Dhruva to worship the Supreme Lord. That is from 14th verse to 23rd verse. And today's the flow of connectivity is, so Maitreya to Vidura. Hurt and angry, Dhruva runs to his mother crying. Why hurt and angry? We know that Suniti picked up Dhruva, placed him on her lap, and with herself crying, spoke to Dhruva with great pain. Right? Suniti also so painful. Oh, my son is suffering. Right? In that mood. Then Suniti to Dhruva. First message to Dhruva. It is message for all of us. Do not find fault with others, because those who have given suffering to others previously receives the same in this life. So we have to be careful with Vaishnava Aparat, right? So fault finding. Fault finding is not recommended. In one of a Pandal program, my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayabada Swami Guru Maharaj, he was expressing out of compassion when all different temple management brought so many do's and don'ts and pros and cons with so much of difference of opinion and everything. Then Maharaj said, Guru Maharaj said, find the 10% good qualities from others, then your relationship will be everlasting. If you start find this fault with the devotees, then no end for it. No end for it. Throughout our spiritual journey or material journey, we keep finding the fault. Even we cannot have a good relationship with our own children, with our own, what to say, the conditioned relations, right? The other relations are not conditioned, right? The the debt to our own parents, to our own family members, and guru, and the king's wife, like that. There are so many debt one should clear it in the like that. There are different samskaras, so that elaborates what is the debt for each and every one of us, like that. So I mean to say here, we have to be conscious on all these things. Then the fault finder will get nothing, right? So if Lord finds fault with us in Kali Yuga, nobody can escape, right? We all should be sent to, at least for sake me, should be sent to Patala Loka, right? No qualification in Kali Yuga for anybody. And then the flow goes on like this. Suruchi is perfectly right, as your father is ashamed to accept me even as a maid servant. What to speak of, wife? So that means here, because the problem with Uttanupada. So here her mood is very wonderful. The Suniti, she's telling that Even they are not ready to accept me as a maid servant, in their palace or something. She's such a lady, Suruchi don't want to keep anybody. So that is a mood of, the parallel or whatever, we call. And though the words of Suruchi were unpalatable, her instructions to worship the Lord are very much palatable. Therefore, worship the Lord without envying Suruchi. So don't think about Suruchi. You always, if there is any problem, so think about the Lord, and then why, my dear Lord, you put me into this, situation. Whenever some disturbance comes in our path, immediately we think, how to destroy or how to this thing. So we should, our mood should be like this. Oh my dear Lord, oh my dear, Krishna, why are you putting me in this difficult situation? You only should give me the right protection, like Prahlad Maharaj, how he surrendered, right? So that is what, the mood of the devotee should be. That is what, Mother Suniti also expressing with this, uh, with her son, and saying, and moving forward, by worshipping the supreme Lord only, Brahma, your great grandfather, attained his supreme position, and Swayambhava Manu, your grandfather, achieved happiness on earth in heaven and later achieved liberation. So she's narrating, there are many devotees. So we are seeing, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada attained that perfection, and then he attempted to give, that perfection to all his disciples. That is what we are today, sitting here and happily, discussing about the most confidential knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. When we discuss about, the Bhakti Yoga, so it starts from 7th chapter to 12th chapter. In that 15th chapter is the Bhakti Yoga, but here the ninth chapter will give the basement to get into this Bhakti Yoga, which is recommended by, uh, Dhruva's mother here. So follow this purified, follow this Bhakti Yoga, right? Then your forefathers followed that. You also follow like that. She's recommending here, and then she's telling, therefore worship the Lord who is very affectionate to his servants, right? So Lord is so affectionate to his servants. We know that. Excuse me. This is Damodar month. So Damodar month, how one could bind, the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? He is, Anu also. He is Vibhu also, biggest of the biggest. How one could, tie the Lord. So there is a two-finger story. So this two finger is, one finger is our endeavor, and the second finger is Lord's mercy, costless mercy. So the one who strongly understands, this state, they can understand, the meaning of this particular verse. Therefore worship the Lord who is very affectionate to his servants. So we got it, so when we have prayer, definitely Lord will give his ears. Sincere prayer, not that, some kind of, doubtful, right? Unconditional love. And then today's verse, what it speaks, how to worship. Okay, I want to surrender to Krishna. I want to follow the Bhakti Yoga. I want to come out of, my problem. What is the mood of Dhruva? Dhruva here. Dhruva, 5-year-old boy, wanted a bigger kingdom than Uttanapada, his father, and he wants to. Yes, he achieved that also. That is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga. Worship the Lord, fixing Him in your mind, purified by bhakti, with attachment to nothing. How one could come to this stage in Bhagavad Gita? It is mentioned, ninth chapter, most confidential knowledge. So, what is the essence of that most confidential knowledge, which I would like to share because so important to connect to Bhakti Yoga? There it is mentioned that why it is being addressed as a most confidential knowledge is because until we surrender to Krishna, we cannot understand this most confidential knowledge. Okay, what benefit I get out of this most confidential knowledge, and what is the qualification to gain this Bhakti Yoga or most confidential knowledge is benefit to know most confidential knowledge is one, devotional service. So that is what the benefit of knowing this bhakti yoga or most confidential knowledge. Okay, what is the qualification for that? The first and foremost qualification is non-envious to the supreme personality of Godhead. The one should not have a stinge of enviousness about the Lord. How Arjuna and Duryodhana approached the Lord, and they Krishna offered whatever you want. Krishna gives the independence. So do we have that surrender? When we have surrender, that means when we are putting one step, Lord will take us to remaining 100 steps. So Duryodhana is totally opposite, and even in our heart, our mind also, so much of the qualities about the material opulences, the impediments, right? The essence of this chapter itself, what are the impediments for spiritual path is, somebody may think I am the wealthiest person in this world. So that is the biggest problem. In Kunti's prayers also we come across, Kunti says, if you feel that you are the most beautiful person, finished. There is no question of you know progress. If you think that you are the wealthiest person, difficult. If you think that you are the most learned, I have PhD, that degree, double degree, triple degree, IT degree, BT degree, everything is vanished. And then if you think that I am the most elevated person in terms of knowledge, I know all these slokas, that this, then these are the impediments in the uh, progressing in Krishna consciousness. Mainly these material impediments are the biggest challenge for one to cross over this ocean of Ashashvatam and Dukkalayam. And then this is the essence of today's verses, how to worship. And Lord is merciful, and Bhakti Yoga we are coming across. And then this most confidential knowledge gives us how to perform this Bhakti Yoga, how not to perform this Bhakti Yoga, how not to perform this Bhakti Yoga, explained in three different indirect methods. What are those three indirect methods? So one is uh, Brahma Jyoti, worshipping, Brahma Jyoti, Pratakvena, Pratakvena, and Vishwatomukam. These are the three ways of, indirect worshipping of the Lord. In that, Vishwatomukam is recommended. What is this Vishwatomukam? Vishwatomukam is universal form. How Arjuna saw the entire gigantic, this universe creation, annihilation, and all other Devatas. All these Rishi Munis are so afraid and, pleasing the Lord. Oh, my dear Lord, please, show me this Shama Sundara Rupa, not even, 400 form of Vishnu, right? So they are likewise Arjuna also, after seeing this, Vishwato Mukham, that is universal form, that is the 11th chapter of this Bhakti Yoga from Bhagavad Gita. Then he also requested, oh my dear Lord. Sanjay explains very nicely how Arjuna being fortunate to enjoy this universal form. So among these three, universal form is recommended, and universal form is not recommended in front of Shama Sundara Rupa. Why? Because this is what to say. This is recommended for one particular yuga, like Satya Yuga. In third canto Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that those who worship on the universal form, they remain in the Satya Yuga. Whichever the yuga, it doesn't matter. So our desire is to come out of this, all these four yugas, and then back to home, going back to our house, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides, Goloka Vrindavan. Now, the point is, okay, so another is there, what is that? Ekatvena. So that is, Lord and we both are one. There is no Rupa for the Lord. These all are the indirect, methods which is not recommended in our parampara. And then, what is that? Another one, as a worshipping, the demigods. So here in the next verse, the 23rd verse also um, explains on that only. So here, quickly, I will brief about these three. One is Ekatvena, Pratakvena, and then Vishwatomukha. So here the Pratakvena means going, indirect paths, doing that, this, other paths like that. So So that time we may get confused so many problem. But we need a complete surrender to the Lord. Then automatically one can become unalloyed devotee. So how to become unalloyed devotee in Kali Yuga? It is recommended Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva Nastyeva Katiranyata. So in this process, one may have the doubt. So how come so there are materialistic people have the identity of birth identity. No, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya, I am a Shudra, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibits. Even I am a Grahastha, I am a Sannyasi, I am a Brahmachari, I am a Vanaprastha. We are zero. What we are? We are Dasanu, 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 Dasa. One should come to that surrender level that such a person can become a unalloyed devotee. So otherwise it is not at all possible. How it is possible? Yes, it is possible for everyone. The 5-year-old boy is getting this. Why? The kindness of the Lord. In Mahabharata, we know that Krishna served as a chariot, chariot driver to Arjuna, chariot, driver to Arjuna. So this is what to say. The mood of the Lord. Here it is, Bhakti Yoga only it is possible, and here Dhruva's mother also. In the purport also it is mentioned that what is it in the translation? Lord is the Bhritya Vatsala, which indicates that he is very kind to his devotees, right? So he says, so, and also in this ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, he's so kind means what? So Lord is telling here what is the mood of the Lord? Lord here, Lord is telling, to the devotees, you, those who surrender, to me, I will protect what they are, what they have, and then I will add what they lack, right? So how many years Dhruva, enjoyed this, kingdom, the 3,600 or I forget the number. So he came back home, that is next chapter, ninth chapter, and then he established, bigger kingdom, and then for so many years, in that. So here the point, somebody may think, oh, Krishna will take away everything. Krishna, yes, obviously he will take away, which is not favorable for our devotional service, right? Here the translation is very clearly mentioned this. What here it is mentioned, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in a devotional service, becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation. This point is very important. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, whomever you are. For Varna and for Ashrama we are, but what is the Bhagavad Gita spoken about? Krishna says to Arjuna, Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. He is not telling, throw out your Gandiva, throw your bow and arrow and, take sannyasa like that. He says, Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. Think of me and do your duty and give the result to me. For whom it is not possible, the one who is having, this Bhogeshwarya Prashaktanam, Taya Apagrata Chetasam, Vivasayatmika Buddhi, Samadhavana Vidyate. See, the one who is getting into all these, Bhoga Aishwarya, I am PhD, I am techie, I am, this, that, blah, 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 everything in the material world with the identity, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood, we know I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya. Krishna created this Chaturvarnam Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhaga Shaka. So out of that, what we have to churn it out? We have to churn it out, Dasanu, 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 Dasa. So when we think about this Dasanu, 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 Dasa, definitely we have to discuss about, one interesting personality in Sri Sampradaya. His name is, Kureshi or Kurat Talwar. So he is not one among, Alwar, but he is a disciple of, Sripad Ramanujacharya, and he is very opulent and very wealthy person who lived in a Kuram. There is a place, 10 miles away from Kanchipuram. There is a place named called Kuram. So he built a very big palace, and his husband and wife, and they all are very opulent life they were leading, and they were so connected with Ramanujacharya's, philosophies when it was, spreading across Kanchipuram and all over, the South India. And these devotee couple, they understood, the importance of this bhakti yoga. And then they offered so many saintly people day and night, with all annadana and with golden plates. More than 100 or 1,000 devotees they called, and they offered every day. They used to offer in a golden plate. Such a wealthy person. Even Tayar used to ask, is he that rich like that, right? Mother Lakshmi, she is the all fortunate, including the wealth. So she asked about, oh, is it that wealth like that? So that means how much wealthy person, this Kura Talwar is. And with unflinching devotional service to Vishnu and, his Guru, they were so intimately connected with Guru and, Sishya. So they are, this is a perfect example for perfect Guru and perfect disciple. See, Kura Talwar says, you are, Vishnu to me, to the Guru, Ramanuja. Ramanujacharya says, I am Guru because of such a disciple I have got. Everybody is fighting for exhibiting, dasanu, 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 dasa. So that means here, such a wealthy person, when 10 miles away from Kanchipuram, this family, after serving all Vaishnavas with very opulent dishes every day, and then when they close the door bell sound reaches to Kanchipuram. And sometimes they felt, oh, this sound will disturb, after the lordships, get into rest. So like that, this wonderful couple serving all the Vaishnavas in that kuram. And then later on, what happened, when there was a king, Chola king, who was so envious about the power of Vaishnavism, and people are getting into, so pious, and getting into follower of Ramanujacharya. So we can find, many Vaishnava aparat. When we progress, we can know, my seva is bigger, your seva is, inferior. Like this kind of, difference of opinion will come even in devotional service. But the point here is how one should qualify to strongly catch hold of, to get into this surrender of dasanu, 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 dasa. So how to get into this? This is an example. Then one day what happened, and we have to understand who they both. So we all know in our parampara, Sri Ramanujacharya, Sripad Ramanujacharya is a incarnation of Sesha, right? Balram or Balram. And another thing is this Kura Talwar is elder. The Sishya is elder than, Ramanujacharya, and who is none other than incarnation of Sakshat, Lord Rama. Lord Rama only took the form of Kuratalwar, and exhibiting, the glory of Ramanujacharya. So Lord exhibits finally, I wins in this Dasanu, 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 Dasas, competition. Now, excuse me. The point here is how the Lord exhibits, means how the Leela between Guru and Sishya. So the envious Chola king wanted to, uh, plan for a crooked plan to kill Ramanujacharya. This message reached, to the Vaishnava, Sri Vaishnava, devotees. Then he went and told, he's a Grahastha, Kuratalwar is a Grahastha, and went and told Ramanujacharya once he was taking a bath in the pond early morning. Then he told, my dear Guru, please you leave from this place. Here there is a danger for you. Like this is something, some other devotees narrated and started marching towards here to Karnataka. Here, Chalo Narayana, what is it? Nambi Narayana temple, this region. So he came here by, those days, I don't know what would be the commuting vehicle or something. Maybe they would have come by walk those days. They came here, and then 12 years Ramanujacharya stayed here, established. And in the meanwhile, what happened? He wore the dress of Ramanujacharya, and the soldiers came to inquire about who is Ramanujacharya, who is Ramanujacharya, like that. Then uh, he told, Kuratalwar told, I am Ramanujacharya, by wearing a saffron robes, oh, I am this. Then along with him, one more devotee also went. I forgot, the devotee's name. Then they went to the assembly of this Chola king. Immediately they were so envious on Vaishnavas and all these things happening. Then, in the meanwhile, see, he only took some, strong weapon and then plugged his eyes and thrown it away. You take it, like this, and then they plugged the eyes of that another devotee also, and then they are about to kill them or something. Through some mercy, they came, out of that assembly, and then they were leading, their life for about 15 to 16 years. After 16 years, then permanently Sripad Ramanujacharya coming from Melkote, to Srirangam again back. Then he prayed to the Varadaraja Perumal, right? After seeing his disciples, he left the body, that another devotee, he left the body due to all these things, and he was living, with that. And then Ramanujacharya came, he was approaching, Kuratalwar. Then he told, you worship, right? Varadaraja Perumal, definitely you will get back your eyes. I will pray for you like that. Then that is a mercy of Guru as well as Krishna. Then Kuratalwar worshipped Varadaraja Perumal. Then he got back his eyes after 16 years. Then another name for Varadaraja Perumal is Kan Koduthan. That means here whomever worships Varadaraja Perumal, they will get their spiritual eyes, and all their whatever the sins accumulated got vanished. So why this we are bringing out today for the discussion? So this is the benefit of bhakti yoga, how Lord is merciful, and how we should be qualified, guru, shishya, like Dhruva Maharaj, though he is a 5 years boy, for him it is possible. Prabhupada says that, that is how merciful Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Jagai Madai. So I don't want to get into full detail about that, but we all are aware of how Lord is merciful in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We know that, and here it is mentioned. But by the process of bhakti yoga, even a child less than 5 year old or anyone of any age can be purified. So that is the beauty of bhakti yoga. So the one who strongly catch hold of bhakti yoga, automatically anybody can. What is the bhakti yoga? Get up early, chant every day Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is the only simple recommendation recommended in the Kali Yuga. Eat only prasadam, have a Ekadasi Vrata. Like, in Kali Yuga, this Vrata, this austerity and all not recommended much, but only this, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Yes, Ekadasi is recommended. Even Prabhupada many a times he told, oh, I will do Vrata and then I will sleep at home and without doing devotional service. With what is devotional service? Here in the translation, once again, I am repeating, become purified by executing your allotted occupation. Allotted occupation is very, very important. No, no, I will do this, that, right? All these things are secondary, but do your duty, think of me and do your duty. That is the meaning of, bhakti yoga execution. So this process is very easy in Namamrita. We read every day after the japa session. In Namamrita, in many places, it is mentioned by Prabhupada. See, to chant, you no need to pay anything. You no need to have any qualification. You no need to be, rich. You no need to this. Not required. Even a 5 year old boy can, get into this process. Then why not, for all of us? Therefore, she advised him not to accept worship of demigod or any other process. This gives, hint to next verse. I will not get into that. But simply to take to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the result would be all perfection. So the one who surrendered to Krishna, then the result would be all perfection. Everything is pavitram. Prabhupada says, in this devotional service, everything is pavitram. So you put anything into the fire, it will become pure. When the sunlight falls, there is no asuddha. So everything is suddha only. So we will not see any partiality, So it will take away all the impurities. As soon as one places the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's heart, everything becomes easy and successful. How to keep that? chanting, intense chanting, not that different sleeping chanting, and the chanting should be very intense if possible in the Brahma Muhurta. So we are Kali Yuga, somehow we have to do this bhakti to qualify to be a unalloyed devotee. So what is the process for to become unalloyed devotee? Two things. One is don't be envious of the Lord, and then surrender to the Lord. So here the surrender also very important. We'll speak about surrender, and we will wind up. Today's we will close today's session. And so here it is mentioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his associates and devotees the process of surrender to Krishna through deity worship, congregational chanting, honoring Krishna Prasadam, associating with like minded devotees. So these 4 plus hearing and reciting scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, searching for Krishna like a child crying for its mother. So these are the 5 processes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended. I am repeating: deity worship, congregational chanting, that means kirtan, honoring prasadam, associating with like-minded devotees, hearing and reciting of our scriptures. So here one analogy I'd like to bring it. So this for whom he ran here, Dhruva did not search for somebody else. He took the help of his mother. So we the devotees to should take the help of our mother scriptures, all the scriptures, Shruti. So this Shruti is our mother. So with the help of all the scriptures like reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, one should dovetail all his activities for gaining this knowledge. Otherwise, it is very, it is not at all possible. Again, Prabhupada elaborates here with, there are 8 points. What is this? Prabhupada gives this to give ourselves completely to Lord Krishna and depend entirely on Him for protection. So that is what the Saranagati, how Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyakashipu was so, dangerous and so envious of devotees, his own child. Forget about other devotees, forget about other, sampradaya or whatever. See, in our, excuse me. So here, the point here it is mentioned, to give ourselves completely to Lord Krishna and depend entirely on Him for the protection. Prabhupada gives, another point to have full confidence that under any circumstances Krishna will protect us. That is what that is what um, Hiranya- Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj, right? In any condition. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited that. You kick me, I don't mind. I have prema for you. To be ready to accept all that is ordained for us and all karmic reactions, whether desirable or undesirable. To realize that the real doer is Krishna and that we depend on him for any results. So he is the doer. We are only instrument. So that mood should be there. The further Prabhupada, goes on explaining to realize that the real doer is Krishna, yes. To understand fully that Krishna is the infinite controller and that we are his in we are infinitesimal controlled parts. So we are Prakriti and Lord is the no, he is the enjoyer and we are being enjoyed. We are only instrument. To realize that we are not the body but the spirit soul. And then to accept that Krishna is the master and we are the servitor. So that is what Dasanu does. But in Kali Yuga, Basanu Bas, you listen to me, that mood. But we should listen to the scripture and Acharya. The last one, to follow the instruction of Krishna that we should accept a bona fide spiritual master in the succession as Krishna's representative and surrender to him and serve him with utmost humility. So this is what Dhruva's mother also explaining here. She says that in 20th verse, by worshipping the Supreme Lord only, Lord only, Brahma, your great grandfather, Swayambhava Manu, your grandfather, achieved happiness on earth, in heaven, and later achieved liberation. So she is giving. So therefore, worship the Lord who is very affectionate to his servant. So how to worship? So that is what Prabhupada explaining, like this. So all these eight, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says how to worship: deity worship, congregational chanting, honoring Krishna Prasadam, associating with like-minded devotees, hearing and reciting the scriptures, all these things. So this topic is very interesting. We can keep on, uh, uh, we can keep going on this topic. So here, so we all should have the mood of, Dhuru Maharaj. We can also attain the perfection in the Bhakti Yoga process, like Mother Suniti advised. So here, our mother is our scriptures, and our Guru is Prabhupada. Through of Prabhupada, anybody can qualify like Dhuru Maharaj with minimum austerities in Kali Yuga by chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here I will stop. If there is any doubt, we can discuss, or anything, to share, you are welcome. Otherwise, Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I understood well. You said to meditate and worship on universal form of Lord Krishna. That is, do you understand Shamasundara we have to worship?
Yeah, we should worship Shyamasundara. But in the ninth chapter Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that among these three, this is recommended. You are getting no. That the process is not recommended, because if I in the third canto Srimad Bhagavatam, you don't notice what I have told. So if I'm keep on in that mood of, um, Arjuna, in that position, Virat Rupa, then there is no progress for us. So it is recommended that 200, not only 400 Vishnu form, it is recommended that 200 Shyama Sundara form. But
Okay,
among
thank you.
those
So we
three,
have
that is the highest one. So say, what is that other two?
two.
Vishwato Muham and, Ekatvena Pratakvena. Ekatvena means telling that me and Lord both are same. And then Pratakvena means worshipping, other demigods also, thinking that, equivalent to Krishna. And this Virata Rupa is the Lord's, what to say, that is also material. It is not spiritual. So that form is not recommended for devotees, I am telling. But there it was discussed in the flow among those three that universal form is the highest one. So that is not recommended for devotees.
Oh, thank you. Dhanyavad.
Hare Krishna. Otherwise, what will happen also, I told. Otherwise, we will remain in the Satya Yuga. According to third chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, one remains. It comes in the flow of, conversation between mother and, son or something. I'm not remembering exactly. So in that way. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Nice for sharing. Thanks for sharing. So here we will stop the session. So
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Shruti Mataji. So we will. So I thank, temple authorities for giving me this opportunity. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll close the session here. Hare Krishna.